Watch me turn into a werewolf, and I will haunt till the break of dawn. Don't you dare to try to stop me. This is the horn of the Black Swan.
Love it. Hey, what's up, Insomniacs? Midnight Sound 518 here, and we are doing maintenance on the Speed. So, I got a couple little things that just kind of need to get done. Don't mind the mess that's all over the table. I had a new garage door installed, and I haven't yet cleaned up from it. But, as I drop everything over there, I need to install a new valve cover gasket, as well as I'm going to go ahead and swap out the spark plugs while I'm there, just so I can take a look at it and make sure that everything is a-okay and gorgeous. Should be super easy, nothing crazy, but this is the most in-depth engine work that I've done to date, so I'm sure it's going to take me a little bit longer than it'll probably take most. The other thing that I'm going to do while I'm already in here is, even though it's covered right now because of my top-mounted intercooler, eventually I'm going to upgrade to a front-mounted intercooler, and because I'm already taking it off, I'm going to paint the valve cover. So I got to go get it from inside, but I found this really cool AMC metallic blue, I think is what it's called, spray paint, which is like engine, transmission, heat treat kind of level. It can get hot, I don't know, and it's very pretty. So I'm going to get that, and then after we have the valve cover off, I'm going to get that all nice and sanded down and that kind of stuff. Just make sure you get all the corrosion and blah 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 that's already all over it, and once it's nice and pretty and clean, wipe it down with some alcohol and paint it. So hopefully it'll look cool. And I'm going with that blue just because, spoiler alert, if I haven't already mentioned it, which I don't think I have, I've decided that I'm going to end up wrapping the car blue. I don't know what wrap I'm going to be going with yet. I've been looking at a bunch of different companies, but I think I've pretty much settled on the fact that I'm going to be doing blue. Which leads to the name of the Speed is probably going to be Blue, BLU. So it's cute, it's cool. If you guys don't like it, well, drop a comment. Let me know what you think of the name, and maybe give me some ideas. I'm not settled on blue, but I think it's kind of cute. So for now, that's what it's going to be. It's funny because it's a black car. I'm gonna name it Blue, but eventually it'll make sense. So without further ado, we're gonna hop right into it and start taking this apart. So starting out with, we got ourselves our handy 10mm bolt or socket. We'll be taking off these two bolts right here, both 10mm, and this should remove the plastic cover that's on top of the intercooler. Okay, so with that off and over there, great time to clean, by the way, so I will be cleaning that and getting it all nice and, not dusty. We're going to have to get this intercooler off. So, there are a few bolts kind of going around the outside. We have one right here, one right here. These are both 12mm. And then we have, I think, two in the back, or is it just the one? It might just be the one. But yeah, so we have one right there. And then we have to remove both of the air, I guess, tubes, whatever. So these are going to be also 10mm, and you have one of these little like pipe clamp things, which 10mm or a Phillips screwdriver will undo that one turning to the left. There are two of those 12mm bolts, one right here and then one down underneath, and that'll clear this little intake here, so that we can have that off. And then right here is another one of those 10mm little pipe hose clamp things that we can undo for the other side of the air thingamajig. So I know that's a very technical term. Like I said, I am YouTube certified master auto technician, so I am learning this as I go. And I just found out this morning that an intercooler has no coolant in it. It is air from the engine from the turbo sent through here, and it's air that goes over top. So there's no coolant, all air, which actually makes a lot of sense when you physically look at it. But anyways, yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and undo all those. And there we have the intercooler off. And that valve cover is friggin' gross, man. Oof. All right, well, yeah, all that cleaning and stuff is gonna have to wait for a little bit. The valve cover gets a little awkward, right? Because we have these 4 plugs that are gonna be going to the coil packs for our spark plugs. And these are, I think, an 8mm bolt, maybe a 6, I don't know. And then we got a plug here, which is for a thing. And then we have a bunch of 6mm, 8mm, whatever these are, I'll figure that out in a second, that run the entire length of the outside perimeter here. I guess technically before we start unplugging coils and shit, we should undo the battery. So it should just be a 10mm, not a 12. And then we'll take our, there's my wrench, 10mm on the positive end. Just kind of undo it real quick. Slippity-do that guy off. And that way we don't have to worry about any electrical current surges or anything like that running into the coil packs and the spark plugs. I don't care about the spark plugs, right? Because, well, they're all getting replaced today. But the coil packs I for sure do. Man, that sounds so brittle and old. Yeah, that's gross. I'm gonna keep kind of chugging away on pulling off these plugs and everything, and I think we also have to take off the oil cap. First of all, why the heck you guys didn't tell me that my hair is messed up? Anyways, I do have the tools, turns out, because I do RC stuff with RC cars and whatnot. I figured that I had an 8mm somewhere, but I didn't know where this was. So I found it. I don't have a 1/4-inch socket or like wrench, so impact it is. I see nothing wrong with this. So I finally got this hose off. Basically, you got these tabs right here, and they're resting inside of the edge that you can see this like opening here. Pretty much, you push the hose in, and then you can push those tabs, which slides this like unit down a little bit, kind of, not really, and then you can just pull the hose off. That took forever to figure out. And there it is, the inside of my valve cover. So now I need to be very, very careful and meticulous, and I'm gonna clean all around this edge here, because you can see where this oil has been kind of like leaking through the valve cover there. Yeah, and then wiping down like the center, all that sort of stuff, cleaning up any of the residue left over from the previous valve cover. And, you know, I'll probably just give it a good wipe down anyways, just to make sure it's all good to go. And there's my timing chain. Look how gorgeous it looks. It's very pretty. Yeah, and then we're gonna clean this up. I'm gonna get it all just kind of like wiped down and cleaned out a little bit and all pretty. And then we're gonna get the entirety of the outside of the valve cover all nice and scrubbed and polished and degreased and wiped down. And then we're gonna hit it with a coat of paint, make it all nice and pretty before we put it back on. There's like a whole thing about gapping and all that sort of stuff with your spark plugs. I'm gonna go with whatever is currently stock on the car, because I know that the car runs nice and pretty. So whenever I pull out these spark plugs, I'm gonna gap the new ones to the same amount that the current installed ones are. So I'm gonna do spark plugs real quick. I got the new ones right here. These Ruthenium HX friggin' NGK spark plugs. So I don't know, maybe they're good. But it is a 16mm socket to pull them out. For looking at the gap, I do have this like feeler gauge, which I don't entirely know how to use, but I do know how to use this one. So you take the new spark plug, or the old one, whatever, and the gap is gonna be the distance between the tip of the plug on the center portion and this little like bendy part. And so basically, you take this and set it in here, and then you kind of move it around until it gets tight. And I broke it. So here's the plug for cylinder number 1, and as you can see, there's a lot of oil on it, which I'm pretty sure is an issue. I think that just means, I can't recall it. I think that just means that the valve cover gaskets, alright, I think that just means that the valve cover gasket is not good. That means that maybe oil is, I don't know, because it doesn't look like oil is really getting down maybe inside. I don't know, we'll see. Let's see what you are. Oh, you are way small. Okay. So you are somewhere around, it's looking like 0.026, about 0.026. For this new one, we're gonna have to shrink this down by a decent bit. And to do that, you just hit it with a hammer, pretty much. All right, so the old spark plug was gapped somewhere around 0.025, and this is pretty damn close. It's somewhere just smaller than 0.025, but like larger than 0.024. So I'm gonna call it good, and hopefully, I don't know, it's good. All right, all 4 spark plugs have been gapped and replaced. I'm gonna leave these in the order that they were in the engine just in case something was weird, because I've never done this before. I put the valve cover back on. I haven't bolted it down at all because I don't have any of that stuff, and I don't want to leave it just open to the garage for the next few hours until the store's open. So we'll be back. Beyond the pile of trash and the dirty valve cover, we have ourselves some wire wheels right here, and I shut the hood just so that the dumbass don't get in the engine, because that'd be bad. But yeah, so we got a couple wire wheels now. So we can hit this and get it all nice and brushed out and cleaned off. And then I'm gonna end up taping the end of this one right here. And I'm probably just gonna shove towels inside of these holes, these 6 holes right here, and then hit it with a coat of paint. Shouldn't be anything crazy. And I did get it all, the gasket like surface in the car. Like on the top of the engine block, all very like clean for the most part. I'll show you that in a second once we get to it, but I still need to do the valve cover side. Once I remove the old rubber gasket, I gotta get it all nice and cleaned up and purdy. I didn't do that yet. I wanted to leave the old rubber gasket in since I'm gonna be painting, just so that I didn't, you know, accidentally get, I don't know, paint inside of the crack or something like that where the gasket is seated, and I didn't want to mess with any of that and cause problems. So I'm leaving the old gasket on. Obviously I'm not painting the bottom side of the dang valve cover because that would be dumb, but just in case, I'm leaving it on. So here we go. You have no business being so damn cute. Boop. And where's your sister? Oh, over by the freaking trash. Hello. Yeah, you over by the trash? Yeah. Whoosh. Hi, you're a cutie. She didn't know what to do. See ya. So there it is, all cleaned up. I don't really know if I have to really get it too much better than that. Oh, I'm gonna hit that again. Alright, final coat is on. And no, the corners and the crevices are still a little bit gunky, but I'm really not worried about it, because it ain't that bad. Cool, so with that done, and the whole thing nice and sprayed, I am gonna get all of these old gaskets off. So one thing to note is that right here, and then on either end of this curved part, we're going to be adding the silicone sealant. I'll show it to you when I get over there, which is RTV silicone sealant, and that stands for room temperature viscosity. which means that this will solidify in room temperature. That's what I'm going to use. Just a little dab in each of these corners. These two make sense to me because if we look on the top of the block here, this edge right there and right there is where it's like conjoining two pieces of metal. It's not one solid chunk, which makes sense why you'd want to have a sealant there, because it could potentially be a leak spot. I don't really know about the corners over here on top of that little round part that the cam is sticking through. So either way, we're gonna get the gasket swapped and get the cylinder or the valve cover back on. Call it a day. So technically, these bolts get whatchamacallit, torqued down to 84 inch-pounds or about 7 foot-pounds. I don't have a torque wrench that can do that, and the average human can torque up to 60 foot-pounds by hand, like if you're really muscling it. So with one hand and my extension, I brought it to as tight as I can make it, and I'm gonna go with that. It's probably a stupid idea. Don't do this at home. Now we can go ahead and get all of this tape crap off that I put on here earlier to protect the connection on this end. And then we're gonna go ahead and get everything plugged back in. So the cam sensor right there. Gonna have to pull this dude guy back up and over there. Have to tighten this back down into place. Oop, that's not an 8, that's a 10. Last but not least, we got to get the intercooler, the top mounted intercooler back on, which is literally the back the way that it came. We have, this is the like bolt tower, whatever you want to call it, that holds it up, and then the other two are going to be right here and right here. Just to prove to you, we have no extra bolts on the floor. Yes, there's 2 right there, but that's for the cable or the cover. Everything else is back in and buttoned up, and I'm going to crank it. Battery's plugged in. All the hoses are reconnected. All the plugs are in. Oh God. All right, well, here we go. Well, it turned on. I don't have any engine codes or anything, so that's good. So I'm just checking out around the edge, making sure there's no like dripping oil or anything like that leaking. It sounds fine, it looks fine, but just to make sure, I don't want any problems. Cool. I'm gonna get the intercooler cover back on and close up the hood. And once she's up to temp, we're gonna go for a test drive. For your information, what took me a couple hours to do, and it was my first time ever. Next time it would be a lot faster, but that was $239 if you were to get this done at the dealership. $269 to do the spark plugs. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Like those, I think I spent 40 bucks or 60 bucks, something like that, for all 4 spark plugs, and it literally took like 15 seconds to gap them and throw them in there. I don't know, whatever. Obviously, I don't have any idea what I'm doing when it comes to car maintenance and all that sort of stuff. I'm really just learning as I go, and trying to figure it out as I go and not make mistakes, because I love my car and I don't want to break it. So, you know, I feel like I'm pretty cautious when it comes to doing a lot of things. I do skip some corners just because some things don't really make sense to my brain hole on why it has to be perfect and exact. So if I don't have the right tool, then I won't. Talking about torque specs. Anyways, yeah, because it's a valve cover. Like, anyways, if you do stuff yourself, it will save you so much money. It is absolutely insane. You know, I gotta remember exactly where I ordered my valve cover gasket from. I think it's Edge Autosport, and that's also where I got my spark plugs and stuff from. So I'll drop a link down below so that you can pull those up yourself if you need to. And yeah, just do your own maintenance. You know, a lot of people don't like how inconvenient it is to have to get in there and get your hands dirty, and it takes a lot of time. I don't know, because like I said, it was my first time. It was a long video. It took me like, I don't know, probably a total of 5 hours of work. But I was also painting and cleaning, and you know, if you were to go to a shop and have them do it, they're not going to do any of that stuff. You know, they're just going to pull the shit off, replace it, and put the new one back on, and take friggin' 45 minutes maybe. And you know, when you get in there and you take care of your car, you can clean it, and you can make sure that all the things are oiled the way that they're supposed to be, and make sure that, you know, it looks right inside of your engine bay, because nobody else is going to take care of your stuff but you. So anyways, I thought I was going to be able to get to the drive belt or the serpentine belt in this video. I cannot. I don't want to make this video super freaking long, and I'm also not going to do it right now because I'm going to need to jack up the car in order to get to the tensioner pulley. But anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please drop a like and a subscribe, and come back. You know, this is just car maintenance, you know, no crazy upgrades or anything like that. The upgrades on the Speed will be coming, I promise. I don't know when though. You know, I own a very expensive Tacoma and a very expensive house and all that sort of stuff. So car projects don't always end up happening when I want them to, but that's fine. So stay tuned, and you know, that's why you subscribe, so that you can see the progress of my build as I do it. So anyways, appreciate you guys for hanging out with me and learning with me, and I will see you next time. I mean, that's sign out.